To fight Tyson in November, and I think we have a rival promoter who has stooped to an all-time low now, trying to...
At 94 years old, Don King, the flamboyant, controversial, and unforgettable boxing promoter, finally decided to speak his truth. After decades in the sport that made and broke legends, King reflected on his past and revealed the 6 boxers he grew to despise the most. Not because of their skills inside the ring, but because of betrayal, greed, and shattered loyalty outside of it. These are the stories that defined his grudges and shaped the man who once ruled boxing's golden era. Muhammad Ali Don King's relationship with Muhammad Ali started as one of admiration and friendship. King helped organize some of Ali's most iconic fights, believing in the champ's charisma and unmatched appeal. But business turned sour when Ali began signing deals and changing teams without honoring earlier verbal agreements with King. To Don, loyalty meant everything.
And Ali goes right to the left to the face and lands to it. Now he's working on the right.
When Ali walked away to work with other promoters, King felt personally betrayed. Though he publicly respected Ali's legacy, privately he nursed a deep wound that time never fully healed. It wasn't about money, it was about broken trust. Even years later, King would admit that Ali's departure from his circle was the moment he realized that in boxing, friendship often comes with an expiration date.
I is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children.
Mike Tyson. If Ali was a betrayal of friendship,
Hey, coward, you got man enough to fuck with me. You can't last 2 minutes in my world, bitch. Look at you scared.
Mike Tyson was a betrayal of family. Don King helped guide Tyson through some of his most financially successful years, promoting blockbuster fights that made Iron Mike a global phenomenon. But when Tyson's fame exploded, so did his anger toward King. Tyson accused Don of stealing millions, manipulating contracts, and surrounding him with people who took advantage of his youth and power. The feud became one of boxing's most public and bitter wars. King always denied Tyson's claims, saying he was the one who turned a raw kid into a legend.
To make Tyson respect him. By hand by Mike Tyson is invited.
But when Tyson called him a ruthless man who exploited my soul, the damage was done. The love they once had was gone, replaced by decades of resentment that neither truly let go of. Bob Arum among promoters, no rivalry in boxing burned brighter or uglier than Don King versus Bob Arum. For decades, these two giants fought for dominance, TV deals, and control over the sport's biggest names. King believed Arum used underhanded tactics, politics, and backroom deals to block him from major events. Their rivalry went beyond business. It became personal. Whenever one promoted a fight, the other tried to outdo him. When King signed a champion, Arum countered by stealing another. It was a cold war of contracts and egos, and Don King despised every minute of it. Even in his old age, King would shake his head and mutter, "Bob always wanted to beat me, not the fighters, me." Oscar de la Hoya. When Oscar de la Hoya was still climbing the ranks,
boxing is a sport that it is always going to survive, you know? I mean, look at the history involved with the sport.
Don King saw potential. He offered him deals, promotions, and pathways to global superstardom. But when Oscar reached the top, he distanced himself from King completely. De la Hoya's clean-cut image and his decision to run his own promotional company, Golden Boy Promotions, meant he no longer needed King. To Don, that independence felt like arrogance. He saw it as another fighter who forgot who helped open the door. King tried to rekindle partnerships, but De La Hoya refused. Behind the scenes, Don described him as the kid who took the crown and slammed the gate shut behind him. Their relationship ended in cold silence, a classic case of ambition eclipsing gratitude. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. represented everything Don King both admired and despised. King saw in Floyd the same ruthlessness he once carried: control, strategy, and self-promotion.
We see something going on in the corner, and there is the towel being waved into the ring.
But when their paths crossed, It was a clash of egos too big for one room. Mayweather teased the idea of working with King several times, only to walk away and handle his own deals. King felt manipulated, used for publicity. Floyd's money persona and his insistence on cutting promoters out of the process infuriated King, who had built his empire on those very contracts. "Floyd didn't need me," King once said bitterly, and he wanted to make sure the world knew that. For a man who had built careers, being told he was irrelevant was the ultimate insult. Marvin Hagler.
The right-hand lead. He's throwing punches off his back foot.
Tommy just held Hagler on his head, which meant...
Marvin "Marvelous" Hagler was one of the toughest middleweights in boxing history, but his relationship with Don King was built on frustration and stubbornness. King admired Hagler's discipline and fighting spirit, but loathed his refusal to play the promoter's game. Whenever King tried to arrange big-money fights or co-promotions, Hagler's team pushed back. They didn't trust King, believing his deals favored himself more than his fighters. To Don, it felt like a personal slight. He saw Hagler as ungrateful and overly cautious.
Our children, your life and my life, with no constraints, no restraints, and no consequences other than this.
But Hagler's refusal to compromise made him one of the few men King could never truly control, and that infuriated him. He wouldn't bend, wouldn't talk, wouldn't deal, King once said. You can't build an empire with men who don't trust the builder. Now, at 94, Don King looks back on his empire, built on charisma, controversy, and chaos, and admits that these 6 men shaped his legacy as much as his successes did. He doesn't deny his mistakes, nor does he hide his grudges. To King, loyalty was the only currency that mattered, and once it was broken, it was gone forever. Muhammad Ali taught him that friendship can fade. Mike Tyson taught him that fame changes people. Bob Arum taught him rivalry never dies. Oscar de la Hoya showed him ambition has no gratitude. Floyd Mayweather proved that business kills emotion. And Marvin Hagler reminded him that some men simply can't be bought.
2 consecutive right hands.
Don King may forgive, but he will never forget.
Hit with the uppercut, and he
He beat De La Hoya. He's finding out that that isn't the way.
And even at 94, his voice carries the same thunder that once echoed through boxing's greatest nights, a reminder that in the ring of life, not every fight ends when the bell rings.